Why would an ancient kingdom wait 3 centuries just for you, chosen one? Pause for a moment and let that question strike your spirit. For 300 years, across generations, through whispers, visions, and prophecies, the unseen realm has been searching not for armies, not for kings, but for you. The world may have dismissed you as ordinary, but heaven knew the truth. You were a prophecy wrapped in flesh, a secret key hidden in plain sight, a divine answer waiting for the right moment to rise. Can you feel it? That tug in your soul that tells you this is no accident, no coincidence, but destiny itself catching up with you. They tried to bury your lineage, erase your identity, cover your light under layers of lies, but the indestructible truth has survived. And now, like a long-lost key meeting the lock it was forged for, you are aligning with the purpose written for you before time began. Type 777 inches. The comments, if your spirit is burning with recognition. Declare it boldly. I am here. I am chosen. I am ready. And before we go further, I want to honor and thank every single one of you who has stood with this channel, whether through prayers, shares, or even through a super thanks. You are not just supporters. You are carriers of this same light, helping to awaken others to their divine identity. But let me leave you with this burning thought. If the kingdom has been seeking you for 300 years, then what unimaginable mission is heaven about to unleash through your life? Stay with me, because what comes next will shake everything you thought you knew about yourself. God's chosen ones. The kingdom has been seeking you for 300 years. You may have been asleep, but heaven was never silent. Nothing can stop what has been divinely appointed. No empire of stone, no palace of marble, no throne carved by human hands can erase the kingdom established by the Almighty. Your life was never random. Before your first breath, your name was etched into the scrolls of heaven. The psalmist once declared, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Psalm 139:16. That means your story did not begin at birth. It began when eternity breathed your name into existence. Can you feel the weight of this mystery? Chosen one, the prophecy did not start with you, yet it waits to be fulfilled through you. The kingdom has been seeking you, not for who you appear to be in the natural world, but for what was hidden inside you before time began. As it is written, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Jeremiah 1-5. No wonder shadows tremble when you rise. They recognize the assignment sealed in your soul. For centuries, powers and principalities tried to intercept the prophecy. They twisted it, buried it, rewrote it. But no hand has ever touched the original script. Nebuchadnezzar once raised a golden idol and demanded the world bow down. Yet the God of Daniel silenced lions in their den. Daniel 6:22. If even hell could not cancel what was sealed, what power on earth dares to try? Hidden scribes carried this truth. They wrote in secret, carved in silence, placing marks where time could not erase. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24-35. Even Beethoven's Missa Solemnis rose like a cry from eternity, a symphony reaching for heaven and your life. Chosen One, is the crescendo heaven has been waiting for. Michelangelo captured it on the Sistine Chapel ceiling, the hand of man stretched toward the hand of God. That image still breathes a question today: will you reach back? Modern voices echo this truth. Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. If a single story trapped within a soul is agony, imagine the weight of an entire kingdom waiting for your obedience." And so the decree stands. Storms could not erase it. Empires could not silence it. Centuries could not bury it. The kingdom has sought you for 300 years because heaven's cathedral is incomplete without you. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. Rise now. Step into the prophecy that has been waiting for your voice. The gates of hell cannot prevail against you. Stand. Chosen One. The kingdom is not waiting anymore, it is awakening through you. Not just written in ancient scrolls, but pulsing in the very bloodlines of those chosen to carry the sacred assignment. Your destiny has always been alive. Perhaps you have felt different your entire life, never fully fitting into the patterns of this world, and wondered why the path carved out for others never seemed to fit your feet. That difference was never a mistake. Every detour, every delay, every obstacle was not meant to break you, but to shape you. The way fire tempers steel. As Paul once said, we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character. Hope, Romans 5:3-4. What if every closed door was secretly opening the one doorway meant only for you? The chosen are never revealed too soon. For the moment of revealing is also the moment of war. The heavens timed your unveiling with the precision of the stars. For there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. This is why you could not emerge earlier, because your rise signals a clash between kingdoms. And isn't it striking that the very systems you were never meant to bow to are the ones most desperate to contain you? The kingdoms of men are built on deception, on thrones seized through manipulation, on crowns that were never theirs to claim. But your kingdom is different. It was established before the foundations of the earth. As Jesus declared, "My kingdom is not of this world," John 18:36. And this is why your arrival terrifies them. For centuries they fortified their walls, expanded their reach, created illusions of dominance. Yet the one thing they could never do was erase the prophecy. It moved like an underground river, whispering through generations, carried by the few who remembered. Isn't it astonishing that even in silence, the prophecy still breathed? Creation itself mirrors this truth. The glacier, slow and relentless, carves valleys through mountains without ever rushing, proving that what is steady cannot be stopped. Just as a pearl forms inside the pressure of an oyster, hidden from the eyes of the world until its moment of unveiling, so your destiny has been forming in secrecy, prepared for revelation. And when prophecy and fulfillment finally collide, it is like lightning splitting the sky. What was once hidden in shadows is suddenly proclaimed for all to see. But every story has its adversaries. History speaks of King Herod, who in fear of losing power ordered the massacre of infants in Bethlehem. His throne was built on blood, but his name became a warning, not a legacy. His desperate attempt to erase prophecy only fulfilled it further. For Jesus, whom he sought to destroy, would rise to a throne eternal. Doesn't this show that those who fight against divine order only ensure their own downfall? And yet through all of this, the scribes of heaven never faltered. They inscribed your name into eternity's record, long before ink ever touched parchment. As Isaiah thundered, "The word of our God endures forever," Isaiah 40:8. What was spoken in secret now demands to be shouted in the open. Chosen one, this is your hour. You were not born to bow to counterfeit thrones. You were born to rise into the kingdom that cannot be shaken. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful, and so worship God with reverence and awe. Hebrews 12:28. Stand up. Step forward. The world's illusions are collapsing, but the prophecy within you is awakening. The war has already begun, and heaven has declared its verdict. You will not be hidden any longer. From the heavens, this is that hour, the moment when silence breaks and destiny speaks. Those who spent their lives searching for you grasped a truth most of the world never dared to see. They knew that if you ever awakened, nothing would remain the same. They recognized that your very presence could shatter strongholds, dismantle invisible chains, and disrupt systems of control that have reigned too long. They read the signs, they felt the timing, and now, chosen one, so do you. Didn't Christ himself declare, "He who has ears, let him hear"? Matthew 11:15. His parables were woven not for all, but for those whose spirit could discern the hidden frequency. When you realize this, you understand that even your silence has carried weight, and your awakening is the thunder that creation has been anticipating for generations. Why did his words carry such power? It was not mere sound, but resonance, like waves of energy vibrating at frequencies that alter matter. His speech aligned heaven and earth in perfect harmony. Physics describes resonance as the moment when one frequency amplifies another until transformation becomes unavoidable. Isn't that the same mystery you feel within your own bones, your spirit humming with heaven's design, waiting for the right collision of time and purpose? When you awaken, the world does not just hear you, it begins to shift around you. Even your smallest declaration can become a shockwave, dismantling lies and building truth in its place. This is why the enemy fears your voice more than your silence. When he spoke, strongholds trembled, demons cried out, storms still. The people were amazed at his teaching, because he taught them as one who had authority. Mark 1:22. His words were not theory, they were architecture. Think of a cathedral's dome, how each stone carries weight. Yet together they form a structure able to echo sound for centuries. In the same way, every syllable of his teaching builds corridors of eternity, where truth continues to reverberate long after the earthly moment has passed. Isn't it astonishing that your very existence is meant to carry that same reverberation? When heaven placed a blueprint within you, it was not a fragile sketch, but a structure reinforced by eternity itself. The world may try to silence you, but it cannot silence the architecture that has already been raised inside your spirit. There is a pattern across Scripture. Ezekiel once said, "The word of the Lord came to me," Ezekiel 37:1. And in that moment, dry bones began to live. Words spoken in alignment with heaven didn't just inspire, they generated breath, movement, and armies rising from dust. What then happens when you finally awaken to the word already inscribed within you? Does not the valley of your own life begin to rise like an army? Does not every silent part of your past suddenly find its voice? When you yield to the word, you are no longer just one person, you become the echo of heaven's army on earth, carrying life into places long declared dead. And this isn't a theory confined to the ancient past. In a small village in the Philippines, a fisherman named Elias was known to rise every dawn, not just to cast nets, but to pray aloud by the water's edge. Neighbors mocked him for his persistence. Yet one day, a violent storm struck, capsizing boats across the coast, except for his. When asked why, Elias said, "The sea knows the sound of a voice that carries faith." His simple life revealed what scholars and kings often miss, that a single voice aligned with heaven can command both waves and history. Isn't this the proof that heaven is still writing through ordinary lives? The voice of faith may not always be loud, but it carries an authority storms cannot ignore. Yeshua told his disciples, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." Matthew 17:20. Faith is not measured by volume but by alignment, by resonance with the Creator. Just as in battle, there are moments of silence before the clash, moments when the air itself feels charged. That stillness is not weakness, but calibration, preparing the warrior for impact. Isn't that exactly where you stand now, in the charged silence before your unveiling? Heaven has already drawn its breath, waiting for your shout. The armies of God are not anxious, they are poised, steady, and aligned with your rise. Chosen one, heaven has waited for this hour. Your awakening is not a suggestion, it is the turning of ages. The prophecies whispered through shadows are now demanding to be shouted from the heights. Rise, step forward, and break the silence. The kingdom is ready, and all creation leans in to hear your voice. And when you stand, you will not stand alone, for the cloud of witnesses, the angels of heaven, and the Spirit of the living God stand with you. The time has come. The verdict has been spoken. It is your hour to awaken, not because they conformed to the world's fleeting standards, but because they carried divine truth, truth that no power, no force, no empire could silence. In the same way, your very presence carries an authority that cannot be denied. The kingdom has been waiting, the prophecy has been unfolding, and now the spotlight of eternity is fixed upon you. There are signs that cannot be erased, sacred markings that time and deception cannot wash away. You have carried within you a mystery that even your own understanding could not fully grasp. Was it ever about your outward appearance? Was it ever about your status among men? No, it was always about the seal of heaven stamped upon your spirit. As Paul wrote, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." 2 Corinthians 4-7. What sets you apart is not your alignment with earthly systems, but the divine assignment written into your soul before the foundation of the world. Even when you did not understand it, the heavens knew. For you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession. 1 Peter 2-9. Isn't it astonishing that while men judged you by the surface, the Almighty recognized the eternal flame hidden within you? And is this not why trials followed you? Why storms seemed unending? Why shadows worked overtime to crush your light? For the enemy fears what heaven already confirmed. History has always echoed this tension. Moses, once hidden in the reeds of the Nile, was underestimated by Pharaoh's empire. Yet he carried a mandate to shatter chains and lead a nation to freedom. Now the Lord says, "I will send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Exodus 3:10. What if your life has been like that, hidden, overlooked, even underestimated, because the time of your revealing is also the time of confrontation. Doesn't it stir you that even your silence was preparation for thunder? Voices in our modern world confirm this truth. The artist Vincent van Gogh once wrote to his brother, "What is done in love is done well." Though misunderstood and rejected in his lifetime, his work carried a brilliance that time could not erase. Is this not a mirror of your own journey, where rejection did not diminish your worth but magnified the eternal stamp within you? And if a man scorned by society could leave a legacy of beauty that awakens generations, what then will your obedience release into the earth? The prophecy itself has been woven like music through time. Think of Handel's Messiah, whose opening words cry, "Comfort ye, my people, saith your God," written in hardship, performed with trembling hope, yet destined to echo through centuries. It reminds us that divine truth is never confined to its birth. Moment it reverberates across ages. Your life is written in the same key, a melody heaven refuses to let die. Can you sense that the notes of your destiny are beginning to crescendo? And so, chosen one, what sets you apart is not what men see, but what God sealed. It was never about titles, wealth, or crowns, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16-7. Rise, therefore, step into the authority you have carried all along. The kingdom is waiting, prophecy is shouting, and creation itself leans forward to witness your unveiling. This is no longer a whisper, it is the sound of heaven demanding your rise. Stand now, chosen one, for the world will never be the same once you step forward. It was imprinted on your spirit long before you entered this realm. That is why you have always been different, why you never truly fit in among the ordinary. The wanderers without purpose may not perceive it, but those with eyes trained to discern true royalty have always known. From the moment you arrived, forces sensed your presence. They studied you, tested you, weighed your strength, whispering among themselves. If you were the one spoken of in the ancient texts, they could not reveal their knowledge openly, so they moved in silence, waiting, watching, circling, attempting to find a single weakness. Isn't it striking that every battle you faced, every sudden storm, every betrayal that seemed random was in fact carefully designed to test you? What you carried was never fragile. The inheritance within your veins was written into eternity's record. Like David, who was overlooked by men, yet chosen by God, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16-7. Every ambush of the enemy, every moment of doubt, every tear shed in silence was a strategy to make you forget the royal lineage sealed inside you. Yet even through storms, betrayals, and seasons where your very existence felt questioned, the heavens never retracted their call. Can you grasp the weight of this, that even when you doubted yourself, God's hand did not waver? The natural world itself reflects this reality. The eagle, soaring higher than any storm, does not escape the winds, it uses them. The olive tree, crushed and pressed, releases oil that anoints kings. And the diamond, hidden in rough stone, requires immense pressure before its brilliance is revealed. Isn't it the same with you? What appeared as crushing was never meant to destroy you, but to release the purity of what was already inside. As Paul declared, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4-8. But there have always been adversaries. In the shadows of history, King Saul, once anointed, allowed jealousy and fear to corrode his heart. He sought to destroy David, thinking he could stop God's plan by force. Yet his throne crumbled. His dynasty fractured. His end marked not by glory, but by despair. Doesn't this reveal that those who resist prophecy only write their own downfall? And if their downfall was certain, how much more certain is your rise? Chosen one, even Yeshua warned, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full." John 10:10. Every attack against you was theft attempted, not theft accomplished. Every doubt whispered into your soul was a thief's trick, not a divine verdict. They feared your inheritance, because they knew once you claimed it, chains would break and gates would fall, and so the heavens stand firm. The call has never been revoked. The inheritance has never been erased. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. The enemy's strategies were never strong enough to remove what the King of Kings decreed. Rise now, chosen one. Step into the fullness of what was always yours. The storms could not erase it. The betrayals could not bury it. And the doubts could not kill it. Your time is not coming, it has already arrived. Stand, for heaven's decree over you will not be denied. They changed their mind about who you are. The world tried to persuade you that you were ordinary. Yet deep within you always knew there was more. You felt it in the way life refused to let you settle, in how closed doors became gateways to greater revelations, and in how pain itself was shaped into a tool that sharpened you instead of destroying you. Isn't it remarkable that what wounded you became the very whetstone that forged your edge? As Paul declared, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Romans 8:28. What others called failure was heaven's strategy of refinement, chiseling you into the vessel already written into eternity's design. Yeshua walked among those who could not see him for who he truly was. The world expected their own image of a king robes, armis, visible power. Yet he did not conform to their imagination. He carried an authority that no crown could symbolize, a sovereignty not measured by title but by presence. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. Isaiah 53:3. Isn't it astonishing that divinity could stand in plain sight and still be unrecognized? And if Christ himself was rejected, should you be surprised when men cannot name the greatness they sense in you? His enemies could feel it, even when they refused to acknowledge it. They feared what they could not control. And you, too, have walked among those who failed to recognize your true identity. Yet their rejection was not your ruin, it was confirmation. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118-22. Every dismissal, every betrayal was an announcement that heaven's seal on your life cannot be removed. Doesn't it stir you that the very voices that dismissed you were unknowingly validating the prophecy that surrounds you? There are always those who try to replace the chosen. In history, Absalom rose against his father David, attempting to steal a throne that was never his. His rebellion ended with him hanging from a tree, his crown slipping into dust, his legacy consumed by shame. Doesn't this prove that counterfeit crowns can never last? You have seen the same in your own life, those who tried to stand in your place, who wore crowns that never fit, who claimed positions they were never assigned. Yet what belongs to you cannot be stolen. The throne marked with your name remains untouched. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Creation itself echoes this truth. The northern star, Polaris, holds its place unmoved in the heavens, while countless constellations rotate around it. In the same way, your calling has been fixed from before time. Isn't it powerful to realize that though storms raged and seasons shifted, your assignment never drifted from its orbit? This is not random, it is divine alignment. Physics calls it constancy. Architecture calls it foundation. Psychology calls it identity, but heaven calls it destiny. And testimonies rise even from ordinary lives. In a small town in Brazil, a baker named Rafael worked tirelessly through the night, kneading bread while whispering prayers. Customers laughed at his insistence that God had marked him for more. Years later, when economic collapse swept through the town, his bakery became a refuge, feeding hundreds for free. He said simply, "Bread was my work, but destiny was my calling." Doesn't this show that even unseen faithfulness builds thrones no man can occupy until the chosen arrive? And so, chosen one, the seat remains vacant, waiting not for impostors, not for opportunists, but for you. The throne cannot be claimed by another, because the signature of heaven is etched upon it. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to sit with me on my throne. Revelation 3:21. Rise now. Step into what was always yours. The world may have doubted, enemies may have plotted, but heaven never changed its mind. The hour has come, your throne is waiting. To take it, yes. The kingdom has always known this day would come. The shift in the spiritual realm has been felt for generations, as heaven waited for the moment when you would finally see yourself for who you truly are. The mark of divine royalty is not granted by men, nor can it ever be stripped away. You were born into this calling, whether you realized it or not. Those who searched for you across time knew they would recognize you when the appointed hour arrived. Isn't it striking that history is full of names erased from records, voices whispered only in secret, yet never proclaimed aloud? As the prophet Isaiah wrote, "I have called you by name, you are mine." Isaiah 43:1, reminding us that no erasure by man can silence a decree from heaven. There have always been those who fear what they cannot control, who seek to bury the truth before it rises. You were never meant to be discovered by the wrong hands, for your very existence threatened empires built on deception. They tried to erase you before your awakening, distorting the facts, rewriting the story, building walls around truth itself. But no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Doesn't it stir your spirit to realize that every attempt to bury you was actually proof of the prophecy they feared? The more they tried to suppress it, the more unstoppable the decree became. For centuries, they worked against you without your awareness. They positioned themselves in thrones of influence, manipulated systems, and controlled knowledge, all to keep what was yours just out of reach. Every battle you fought, every sleepless night, every betrayal that cut you deeply was part of a war larger than you realized. And yet heaven kept its watch. For the battle is not yours, but God's. 2 Chronicles 20:15. Isn't that why you're still here? Even when the storm should have consumed you. The fact that you survived what was meant to destroy you is evidence that you were never fighting alone. They saw the signs long before you did. They knew that if you stepped into your true identity, their illusions would crumble. The only way to stop you was to make you forget, convincing you that you were just another soul lost in the crowd. Yet, destiny does not forget. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. Can you feel the weight of that? Every false label, every whisper of doubt, every cage they built was designed to make you deny what heaven already confirmed. Modern voices echo this truth. The writer and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel once said, "There is nothing more frightening than a single individual armed with a vision." He understood that one awakened life can expose 1,000 lies. Doesn't this resonate with your story, that your awakening is not for you alone, but to dismantle illusions that enslave many? This same message has been carried in art and music. In Verdi's opera, Nabucco, the enslaved Hebrews sing the chorus, Va, Pensiero, their cry of longing for freedom piercing the stage. That melody, born from captivity, still reverberates across centuries, proving that truth cannot be chained. Isn't your life the same, an anthem long silenced, now demanding to be sung? And so the verdict stands. What is written by the divine cannot be undone by the hands of men. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24:35. Rise now, chosen one. Step into the throne reserved for you. The identity sealed upon you. The prophecy fulfilled through you. The illusion is collapsing, but destiny is rising. The hour has come. Stand, for the kingdom is waiting. How many times did they try to rewrite the script? Yet the original story remained unshaken. The kingdom never stopped searching for you, never abandoned the prophecy, never entertained the lie that you could be erased. Even when you doubted yourself, even when the world tried to convince you that you were insignificant, truth stood firm. For we cannot do anything against the truth, but only for the truth. 2 Corinthians 13:8. Isn't it powerful to realize that every hardship was not your end, but another fragment of your awakening? Another step closer to reclaiming what was stolen. Yeshua himself was rejected by those who should have recognized him most, the teachers of the law, the guardians of prophecy, the ones who lived immersed in sacred texts. Yet they failed to discern the fulfillment standing in front of them. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. John 1:11. Doesn't that mirror your own journey? The rejection you endured did not delay destiny, it only confirmed it. Those who tried to silence him ended up fulfilling what was already written. And in the same way, your opposition has not slowed you down, it has only accelerated the divine timetable. Nature itself reflects this mystery. A volcano, dormant for centuries, may seem forgotten, yet deep beneath the surface, pressure builds until eruption becomes inevitable. Isn't that the same with you? The years of silence, of waiting, and of suppression have only stored greater force within you. When the eruption comes, no mountain of lies can contain it. As Job once declared, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand on the earth. Job 19:25. And history offers warnings through its villains. In Rome, Emperor Nero believed he could crush the movement of the early church with fire and persecution. He silenced voices, executed believers, and spread lies. Yet his empire decayed into chaos, while the name of Christ spread like wildfire across nations. Doesn't this reveal the futility of fighting against destiny when the chosen rise? The schemes of the wicked collapse under their own weight. Every attempt to erase you has only made your presence more undeniable. What was hidden is now being revealed. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. Luke 12:2. The lost always return when the time is right. And now the signs are no longer subtle. The world itself is beginning to sense the shift, to feel the weight of what is coming. Even those who worked against you are being forced to acknowledge what is unfolding before their very eyes. Isn't it striking that their greatest fear, your awakening, has now arrived? Yes. Resistance remains. There are still voices desperate to convince you that you are not who heaven has declared you to be. Yet their time is running out. The truth is no longer in their hands. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. The kingdom has waited for this hour, and now the appointed time has come. Before you even knew your own name, eyes in the unseen realm were watching, waiting, and guarding the throne written with your destiny. Rise now. Claim it. The prophecy cannot be delayed, and the kingdom will not wait any longer. Not the eyes of ordinary people, but the eyes of those who studied the secret movements of destiny, those who spent lifetimes searching for the one who would rise, have been fixed upon you. They moved in silence, watching from a distance, tracking every subtle shift, every event that hinted at your awakening. Some sought to guide you, others plotted to stop you before memory returned. Isn't it unsettling to realize that while the world around you appeared ordinary, in the unseen realm, every step you took was monitored? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12. Even when you dismissed the weight you carried, others discerned it clearly. They recognized what you could not yet see, the way you moved differently, the way you refused to be controlled like the rest, the way life itself seemed to bend you towards something greater. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. Isn't that why storms came against you more fiercely than against others? They witnessed moments that should have destroyed you, but instead refined you. Doesn't it stir your spirit to realize that what should have drowned you only made you stronger, like a tuning fork struck in the dark? Your life has always resonated at a frequency the enemy could not silence. Every attack was never random, it was calculated. Every betrayal, every false narrative, every shadow aimed at you was part of a design to keep you from awakening. Yet no weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54-17. The forces that opposed you knew their time was running out, because once you saw the truth for yourself, nothing could restrain you. Doesn't this echo the life of Joseph? Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely imprisoned, yet elevated to Pharaoh's right hand. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Genesis 50-20. What was their plan to bury him became God's plan to crown him. There were those who deliberately placed obstacles in your path, hoping to lead you astray. Yet, like water flowing around jagged rocks, you kept pressing forward. Isn't it mysterious that the very traps set for you only revealed your endurance? In science, there is a principle called resonance frequency, when pressure aligns with structure. Instead of collapsing, it amplifies. And isn't that exactly what happened to you? What was designed to break you only increased your strength. In ordinary lives, this truth plays out. Rosa, a quiet schoolteacher from a small village in Spain, endured ridicule for teaching children to pray before lessons. She was mocked, isolated, told she would lose her position. Yet years later, when tragedy struck the community, it was her classroom that became a sanctuary of hope. She said, "They tried to silence my prayers, but those words built a shelter we all needed." Isn't her story proof that unseen faithfulness shapes visible history? The eyes have been on you not for vanity, but because the throne has been waiting. The kingdom cannot advance without the one marked to carry the scepter. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Rise, chosen one. Step forward. What was monitored in secret is now to be revealed in power. The waiting is over, the unveiling has begun. They lured you astray with distractions, illusions, and carefully engineered lies meant to fracture your confidence. They sent people into your life who pretended to support you, but were secretly agents of delay, designed to keep you from stepping into your purpose. Some wore the mask of friendship, others cloaked themselves as mentors, but their intentions were poisoned from the beginning. Isn't it sobering to realize that the smiles you once trusted were often daggers aimed at your destiny? For Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light, 2 Corinthians 11:14. They believed that if they could keep you doubting long enough, they might succeed in stopping you from realizing what had always been marked as yours. But just as there were those who worked against you, there were also guardians who stood for you, warriors of the unseen realm, assigned by heaven to make sure that no weapon formed against you would prevail. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Psalm 34:7. 2. Haven't you ever wondered how you survived things that should have broken you? Or why doors opened even when enemies plotted your ruin? These were not accidents, they were interventions. Even in your darkest nights, there were shields raised over you, unseen hands holding back destruction, ensuring that every burial attempt became a resurrection. Yeshua was watched from birth. The moment he entered the world, the enemy moved to destroy him before his mission could unfold. Herod, fearing the rise of a true king, ordered the massacre of innocents to erase him. Yet Scripture testifies, "Out of Egypt I called my son," Matthew 2:15. Doesn't it strike you that the very slaughter designed to eliminate him only fulfilled the prophecy that confirmed him? In the same way, every attempt to silence you has been nothing more than evidence that destiny is advancing exactly as written. History has always exposed such masks. Judas, one of the 12, carried the appearance of loyalty but traded his master for silver. His betrayal ended not with triumph but with torment. Isn't this a mirror of those in your life who smiled in your presence yet worked against your future? Their intentions could delay, but they could not destroy. What belongs to you cannot be sold, bought, or stolen. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118-22. The arts have echoed this truth. In the oratorio, St. Matthew Passion by Johann Sebastian Bach, the chorus cries with trembling sorrow, "Lord, is it I?" capturing the agony of betrayal. Yet the same music swells into triumph, proclaiming that betrayal cannot silence redemption. Isn't that what your own life sings, that every false note of treachery has only highlighted the symphony of your calling? And modern voices repeat this lesson. Mother Teresa once said, "If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway." Her words remind us that deception around you does not disqualify you. Doesn't that resonate with your story, that your endurance in the face of falsehood became the very proof of your divine assignment? So rise. Chosen one, you were never truly alone. The guardians stood watch. The prophecies remained intact, and heaven never withdrew its hand. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54:17. The time for delay is over. The masks have fallen. The throne of destiny is waiting for you to take your rightful place. Stand now. The kingdom has been holding its breath for this moment. They tried to prevent his rise, but the divine plan could not be stopped. Herod's sword could not silence the cry of a newborn Messiah. For out of Egypt I called my son, Matthew 2:15. In the same way, your very existence has always been a threat to the systems that have ruled for centuries. They knew you were coming. They tried to erase you. Yet here you are. Isn't it overwhelming to realize that the fact you are still standing is proof enough that heaven's decree has outrun every earthly scheme? Now the watchers no longer move in silence. The shift is too great. The revelation too undeniable. Those who waited in the shadows are beginning to reveal themselves. Some will come to test you, probing to see if you are truly ready. Others will approach to warn you, pointing out obstacles that remain in your path. Yet not one of them can alter what has already been written. The word of the Lord endures forever. 1 Peter 1:25. Isn't it striking that even those who oppose you are now being forced to acknowledge the weight of your calling? The kingdom has already recognized you. There are bloodlines that hold secrets too sacred for the world to uncover, lineages etched into the very foundation of creation. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world. From everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Psalm 90:2. Your existence is not random. Your breath carries divine authority that no earthly throne can override. Isn't this the reason you never fit into the mold others tried to press upon you? You were never just another wandering soul. You were appointed as a carrier of an unbroken covenant. Creation reflects this truth. The salmon swims upstream, defying violent currents, because instinct calls it home. The sunflower turns its face toward light, no matter how often shadows fall. The phoenix in ancient tales rises from its ashes with wings brighter than before. Doesn't this mirror your own story, that every resistance only drew you back to the current of destiny? Every shadow only turned you toward light. Every attempt to bury you only prepared the brilliance of your rise. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4-8. And history warns us through its villains. In Babylon, Belshazzar mocked the holy vessels of God, feasting with arrogance and pride. That very night, the handwriting appeared on the wall. Mene, Mene, Tekel, Parsin, Daniel 5:25. His kingdom ended before dawn. Doesn't this expose the fate of all who try to steal what belongs to heaven? Their reigns crumble overnight, while the chosen rise unshaken. The calling placed upon you was never decided in earthly councils. It was appointed by the Most High. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. The kingdom has been seeking you because what flows through you is not ordinary. It is the continuation of an unbroken covenant written before time. Rise now. Step into what was always yours. The shadows cannot stop it. The systems cannot cage it. And the enemy cannot erase it. Stand. Chosen one, the kingdom has been waiting for you. The covenant, one that began long before you stepped into this realm, was never fragile. Yeshua walked the earth, carrying the weight of divine promise. A lineage that could be traced not only through earthly generations, but through the unbroken thread of prophecy itself. His very presence was proof that the covenant had not been forgotten, that the word spoken in the beginning was still alive and in motion. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. Yet they did not recognize him, because he did not fit their expectations. They searched for a ruler crowned by men. Yet the true kingdom has never been governed by human design. Isn't it remarkable that the blood he carried bore something invisible, something unstoppable, something beyond control? You too have carried something unseen, something no trial, no betrayal, no attack has ever touched. They tried to separate you from your inheritance, convincing you that you were disconnected from the divine plan. Yet, every hardship, every rejection, every trial was meant to sever a bond that could never be broken. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future will be able to separate us from the love of God. Romans 8:38-39. Isn't it powerful to realize that through every storm, you were still tethered to the promise, still moving within the stream of destiny, still aligned with what was written before the foundation of the world? There have always been those who studied the ancient texts, those who knew prophecy does not end, it only unfolds. They searched the bloodlines, seeking to identify who carried the mark, to ensure the covenant was not forgotten. Some guarded it with reverence, while others sought to claim it for themselves. Yet what they built was a counterfeit, a fragile architecture destined to fall. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Psalm 127:1. Doesn't history prove that thrones without divine ordination always collapse? Creation illustrates this truth. The redwood tree, towering for millennia, stands not because of shallow roots, but because beneath the soil its roots intertwine with others, creating an unbreakable network. Isn't your life the same? Though storms raged and winds howled, your unseen foundation kept you anchored. In the language of physics, this is resonance forces aligning not to destroy, but to amplify. The pressure you faced only magnified what heaven had already placed within you. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed. 2 Corinthians 4-8. And history has its villains who dared to seize what was never theirs. Pharaoh, believing he could enslave Israel forever, built monuments to his power, but his pride drowned in the Red Sea. Doesn't his downfall echo through time as a warning that crowns forged in arrogance cannot endure? Those who built false thrones, who wore crowns they had no right to bear, deceived the world into believing power belonged to them. Yet Scripture declares, He changes times and seasons, He deposes kings and raises up others. Daniel 2:21. No matter how many generations they deceived, their kingdoms crumbled like sandcastles before the tide, and testimonies rise even from ordinary lives. A man named Samuel, a farmer from Kenya, once said, "Every seed I place in the ground remembers the rain, even if the sky forgets." His words reveal a profound truth. What heaven plants within you cannot be erased by neglect, delay, or opposition. Isn't that the story of your life, that even when the world forgot, heaven remembered? So rise, chosen one. The covenant has not failed. The promise is alive. The bloodline still carries divine authority, and no false crown can overrule it. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. The kingdom has been waiting. The time has come. Stand in the place written for you since before time began. The truth cannot remain buried forever. Sooner or later, it resurfaces. The covenant remains intact, not because of human effort, but because it was sealed by the hand of the Almighty. Yeshua revealed that true authority does not belong to those who scheme and grasp for it, but to those chosen to carry it. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Matthew 28:18. His very presence disrupted the rulers of his age, not because he sought their throne, but because his existence rendered their control meaningless. Isn't it astonishing that the kingdom, he declared, a kingdom not built by human hands, still outweighs every earthly empire? You were never meant to seek validation from those who cannot understand your calling. Opposition rises against you, not because they comprehend your mission, but because something deep within them senses what you carry. Long before your name was ever spoken on earth, it was already recorded in the places unseen. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book. Psalm 139:16. Doesn't it strike you that what terrifies them is not what they know about you, but what they cannot define? The ancient scrolls, sealed by those who understood their power, carried truths about a time when the lost heir would awaken. These writings were not crafted for everyone. They were hidden from those who would corrupt them, protected from those who would twist them for selfish gain. Only those with eyes to see and spirits trained to discern could uncover what had been concealed for centuries. But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Daniel 12:4. Haven't you wondered why secrets of destiny are always hidden, waiting for the one with the right spirit to unlock them? Scholars and rulers alike scoured the earth for these records. Desperate to control what was never theirs, they erected grand monuments, formed secret councils, rewrote the flow of history, all to keep the prophecy from breaking into the open. Yet even their elaborate systems of deception trembled at the thought of your awakening. Doesn't this echo the words of Christ? You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. Their kingdoms were built on sandcastles of lies, terrified of the tide of truth. And history confirms the collapse of such pride. Napoleon, crowned as Emperor of Europe, once declared that destiny bent to his will, yet his empire shattered at Waterloo, his arrogance dismantled in a single day. Isn't this a warning that crowns seized without divine appointment dissolve under the weight of time? Yet through it all, there were those entrusted with guarding the sacred knowledge. They preserved the truth even when the world ridiculed them, passing it down through faithful generations. It was like the hidden harmony in Beethoven's Missa Solemnis, where quiet whispers of prayer rise above the swelling orchestra, reminding all who hear that eternity speaks even when drowned by noise. And ordinary men and women have echoed this truth. Elena, a seamstress in a forgotten village, once told her children, "Threads break, but patterns remain." Her words captured the essence of prophecy. Fragile hands may falter, but divine design endures. They knew that time could never erase what was written by the divine. They understood that no earthly ruler could alter what had been decreed before the foundations of the world. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever. Isaiah 40:8. Rise now, chosen one. The scrolls have been opened. The prophecy is breathing, and the kingdom is calling for you to step forward. From the foundation of this world, the scrolls were already sealed with words no hand of man could erase. Yeshua himself opened them and read aloud, revealing passages written long before his birth. The very moment he spoke, the atmosphere shifted. Today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. Luke 4:21. Some recognized the power, while others hardened their hearts, blinded by expectations of what a Messiah should look like. Isn't it sobering that prophecy does not wait for human approval, nor bend to human understanding? It simply arrives. And when it does, nothing remains the same. In the same way, your arrival was foretold. The kingdom knew there would come a time when the lost heir would step forward, when what was hidden would finally take its rightful place. Those who searched for you were not chasing shadows out of curiosity. They were driven by the weight of eternity. They knew that the day you awakened to your true identity, the structures of deception they had built would begin to tremble. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. Doesn't this stir you, knowing that the very walls they constructed against you were destined to collapse the moment you stood in alignment with what heaven had written? The sealed scrolls were never lost. They waited like seeds buried in winter soil, silent but not dead until the appointed season. And now that season has come. Even so, there are those who will rise to silence you, to insist you are mistaken, to declare you are no different from anyone else. Yet their words carry no weight against what has already been decreed. For the vision awaits an appointed time, though it lingers. Wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2-3. Doesn't it shake you to realize that even their denials are echoes of fear? Proof that they sense the unstoppable unfolding of prophecy. From the moment you entered this world, there were forces that recognized you. They saw the light before you even knew it existed. They understood the prophecy long before you ever realized you were woven into its pages. And they did not wait for you to awaken. They struck early, hoping to weaken you before you could rise. Isn't it powerful that every betrayal, every hardship, every attempt to break you was secretly feeding your strength? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50-20. Like fire tempering steel, every attack only revealed the resilience planted in your spirit. Nature reflects this truth. The pearl forms only because of irritation within the oyster. Pressure transforms it into beauty. The jagged cliffs endure the battering of waves. Yet the more they are struck, the sharper their majesty becomes. The eagle, tested by violent winds, uses the storm itself to soar higher. Doesn't your journey mirror theirs, that the very forces set against you became the winds that carried you upward? Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40-31. History itself testifies through its villains. King Saul, jealous of David, sought to destroy him before he could inherit the throne. Yet Saul's paranoia consumed him, and his dynasty ended in ruin, while David's line carried the promise of Messiah. Doesn't this reveal that those who plot against heaven's choice are always the architects of their own downfall? Their crowns slip, their legacies fade, while the chosen rise unshaken. So rise now, chosen one. The sealed words have been opened. The prophecy is alive, and the kingdom is summoning you into your rightful place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24-35. Stand. Step into your identity. No attack, no betrayal, no denial has been able to erase the light that burns within you. The hour has come. The world will never be the same again. The storm that rose against you was never coincidence. It was calculated warfare. They knew that if you ever realized who you truly were, their dominion would shatter. So they moved through people, through circumstances, through unseen forces. Weaving distractions like snares in the night, they whispered lies into your thoughts, sent counterfeit opportunities to divert you, and tried to weigh you down with cycles of pain. Isn't it striking that they weren't afraid of what you had done, but of what you would become if you awakened? The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full. John 10:10. They needed you to doubt yourself, for self-doubt is the sharpest weapon forged against the chosen. Yet what they underestimated is that every battle only made you stronger. Every attack sharpened your discernment. Every loss drew you closer to truth. For years they thought they had succeeded. They saw your struggle, your questions, your fire walk through affliction. But they failed to realize that the fire was never sent to consume you. It was designed to refine you. Isn't this why Scripture declares, "I will refine them like silver and test them like gold"? Zechariah 13:9. The flames that should have destroyed you became the forge that revealed your strength. Like a cathedral that withstands centuries of storms because its foundations were laid on unshakable stone, you emerged as a structure no wind of deception could topple. The kingdom knew that once you stepped out of the fire, you would never be the same. No longer blind to their tactics, no longer vulnerable to their deception. You now walk with an authority they cannot challenge. Doesn't it move you to realize that the very trials you begged to escape became the training ground of your invincibility? And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore you and make you strong, firm and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. You carry scars that have become seals of legitimacy, signs that you have been tested and proven. Yeshua faced these same forces. From the moment of his birth, they conspired to stop him before his mission began. Herod unleashed terror against the innocents. The wilderness tempted him with power. The Pharisees sought to trap him in his words. Yet he was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. John 1:10. Isn't it powerful that every scheme against him became the very stage upon which his authority was revealed? He walked in unshakable power because he knew who he was, and knowledge of identity alone stripped the enemy of strength. And now, in the same way, the truth has shattered their grip on you. What once hunted you now trembles at your rising. Doesn't it amaze you that chains which once bound you are now weapons in your hand? A farmer named Lucia, from a small Italian village, once told her children, after surviving a famine, "Hunger carved strength into us. It taught us to endure." Her words echo your story. What was meant to hollow you out became the very space heaven filled with glory. Science affirms it. In physics, pressure is not always destructive. It can create resonance, amplifying sound until it fills entire cathedrals. And isn't that what has happened within you? The pressure of trials amplified your spirit until heaven's frequency resounded through you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. Now you rise not as the hunted, but as the heir, not as the broken, but as the refined. Stand, chosen one. Step forward. The enemy bows because the King has spoken, and his decree cannot be undone. In fear, the very forces that worked against you are now realizing their time is up. The illusions they spun, the lies they whispered, the strongholds they built to cage you one by one, they are crumbling into dust. They see what is happening. They feel the shift in the atmosphere, and they know they can no longer stop what is unfolding. Some will claw at their fading control. making one last desperate attempt to hold you down. But even they cannot deny the truth. Their defeat is inevitable. Isn't it striking that what was once hidden has now been exposed? And what was once attacked has become untouchable. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54:17. The kingdom has made its move, and nothing can reverse it. The enemy never wastes resources fighting what does not threaten them. The war against you was never about who you were, but about who you were destined to become. And now destiny is no longer a distant possibility. It is breaking through the present moment like dawn splitting the horizon. Isn't it powerful to realize that every battle confirmed your importance? Every trial proved their fear of your rising. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. There are those who have sat in high places, wearing crowns they were never meant to bear, ruling kingdoms never assigned to them. They forged their thrones through deception, manipulated systems, and convinced the world they were untouchable. But in the unseen realm, the truth was always clear. They were only placeholders, temporary shadows over a throne that was never theirs. Isn't it sobering that all along the throne was reserved for you? The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. History itself warns us through its villains. Pontius Pilate believed his decree could silence Christ. Yet his name is remembered not for power but for weakness, while the name of Yeshua reigns above every name. Isn't this proof that crowns seized by manipulation crumble? But authority ordained by heaven endures forever. Those rulers built their legacy on sand, while yours has been anchored in eternity. They knew this day would come, that no matter how long they delayed, the rightful heir would awaken. That is why they fought so fiercely to blind you, to keep you unaware of your inheritance. They fed the world lies, designed entire systems to keep you in the dark, constructing walls of control to guard their fragile authority. Yet prophecy has never been subject to human schemes. The vision is yet for an appointed time, though it linger. Wait for it. It will surely come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2-3. Isn't it stirring that no matter how many generations tried to suppress it, the moment of unveiling was always inevitable? The world has been conditioned to believe that power belongs to those who seize it by force. That authority is measured by titles, crowns, and riches. But the kingdom does not operate by human standards. The rightful ruler is not elected by popularity, nor enthroned by manipulation. The rightful ruler is established by divine decree. He changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. Daniel 2:21. And that decree has always pointed to you. The arts have hinted at this truth. In Handel's Zadok the priest, the chorus erupts with sudden thunder, proclaiming the anointing of a king, shaking cathedrals with sound. Doesn't that echo the moment you are living in now, the sudden unveiling, the undeniable declaration that the heir has come? And voices outside of Scripture agree. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The tyrant dies and his rule ends. The martyr dies and his rule begins." Isn't that your story? That the more they tried to erase you, the more unstoppable your authority became. Rise, chosen one. The crowns of impostors are falling. Their thrones are collapsing. But yours has been waiting. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. The world will see what heaven already decreed. Stand now. The kingdom has been waiting for you to claim what has always been yours. Authority does not come from earthly validation, from titles stamped by fragile institutions or crowns hammered from gold. It comes from something higher, something unshakable, something eternal. That is why, no matter how hard they tried, your enemies could never silence the truth. The signs of your return were always present, like roots of an ancient tree pressing silently through the soil, waiting for the day sunlight would expose their hidden strength. Isn't it astonishing that even when you could not yet see yourself clearly, heaven had already sealed your name in its archives? Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. Yeshua himself did not come as the world expected. They believed authority meant armies, riches, and political rule. But he carried a dominion that eclipsed it all. The rulers of his time trembled, not because he sought their thrones, but because his very presence made their thrones meaningless. He never needed to sit in marble palaces to wield dominion. His existence alone shattered their illusion of control. Isn't it revealing that your presence, too, provokes fear, not because of what you own, but because of what has been placed within you? The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me to proclaim liberty to the captives. Isaiah 61:1. You carry a resonance like a hidden frequency in physics, undetectable to those deaf to the Spirit, yet shaking foundations when it vibrates. They will not surrender easily. They will fight to hold what was never theirs, building distractions like storm clouds, fabricating lies as cobwebs, hoping to snare the minds of those watching. Yet every scheme is collapsing under the weight of truth. Isn't it sobering that the kingdom has waited long enough and now rises like a tidal wave that no dam of deception can contain? For the word of the Lord is right and true. He is faithful in all he does. Psalm 33:4. History echoes this pattern through its villains. King Herod, desperate to preserve his fragile reign, ordered the slaughter of innocents, hoping to erase the Messiah before he could rise. But his name now drips with shame, remembered as cruelty, while the child he feared reigns eternally. Isn't this the clearest warning that crowns seized by fear collapse under their own weight? In nature too, false rulers resemble a parasite that clings to the body of a lion, feeding for a season, but inevitably torn away once the lion shakes itself awake. The world is obsessed with power. Men fight for thrones. Kingdoms rise and fall. Rulers declare themselves untouchable. They forge crowns with trembling hands, building reigns on wealth, status, and fear. Yet those crowns are brittle symbols of borrowed authority that vanish the moment their bearer falls. Isn't it powerful to realize that true authority cannot be voted into existence, cannot be stolen, cannot be stripped? He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. 1 Samuel 2-8. False rulers wear their crowns like actors in a fading play. Their power, a stage light that dims when the curtain falls. But the kingdom you carry is not staged. It is reality, unshaken by applause or silence. Art has whispered of this truth. In Shakespeare's Macbeth, the desperate grasping for a crown through blood and deception led only to madness and ruin. And isn't it telling that the lesson still applies? Every counterfeit reign collapses, while divine authority multiplies? For too long, people have been deceived into believing that authority must be taken by force, that influence depends on armies or treasures. But heaven writes a different equation. True authority is not kinetic energy stolen in battle. It is potential energy anchored in eternity, released at the appointed time. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power. 1 Corinthians 4:20. And now that appointed time has come. Rise, chosen one. The crowns of impostors are falling, their thrones collapsing, their illusions exposed. What is coming is greater than anything the world has ever known. The kingdom is no longer whispering, it is roaring. Stand up now, for the authority within you has always been unshakable, and the world can no longer deny it. The world parades crowns forged from gold, wealth, and submission, convincing people that the measure of authority is found in how many followers one gathers, how much wealth one amasses, or how deeply the masses bow. Yet has history not proven again and again that such crowns are fragile illusions, rusting with time and crumbling under the weight of their own vanity? The greatest power never belonged to those who chased it, but to those born into it, those chosen before the foundation of the world. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. The kingdom has been waiting not for another pretender, but for its rightful ruler, the one who does not need to fight for a crown because it was always theirs. When others built empires on false authority, their grandeur was only scaffolding hollow structures destined to collapse. Can you not see how every fortress of lies eventually falls? Like Jericho's walls tumbling at the sound of a trumpet, by faith the walls of Jericho fell, after the army had marched around them for 7 days. Hebrews 11:30. You, chosen one, carry a resonance more enduring than stone or steel. Like in physics, where frequency determines resonance, your spirit vibrates at a divine wavelength that cannot be silenced by the noise of worldly deception. Doesn't it stir your soul to realize that the unseen laws of heaven are more consistent than the laws of men? Even Yeshua was offered the kingdoms of this world. The enemy tempted him on a high mountain, offering dominion over nations in exchange for worship. Yet he refused. For how could he accept what was already beneath his feet? Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God, and serve him only. Matthew 4:10. His kingdom was not of this world, and he knew what was coming outweighed anything this temporary realm could give. Is it not clear that you too will face this same temptation? They will whisper that you should take the easy path, accept their crowns, bow to their systems in exchange for fleeting recognition. But what they offer is counterfeit, a shadow of the true inheritance that is already yours. How empires built by human hands always follow the same cycle. Rome believed itself eternal, yet its grandeur decayed into ruins. The pharaohs carved their names into stone, yet many lie forgotten in the sands. Nebuchadnezzar built Babylon as a wonder of the world, but when he lifted himself above God, his mind broke and he lived like a beast until he acknowledged the Most High. The Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes. Daniel 4:32. Doesn't that echo still today, that every empire not founded in truth eventually collapses under the weight of its arrogance? In the same way, the world will present rulers who seem unstoppable, leaders who appear to control everything. Yet, look deeper. Their crowns rust. Their thrones are overthrown. Their names vanish like mist in the morning. True authority cannot be manufactured. It flows like an underground river, unseen but unstoppable, shaping the land over centuries. Isn't it striking that while men chase titles, the kingdom calls you to something eternal? For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. And just as in architecture, where foundations invisible to the eye hold cathedrals steady against centuries of storms. Your unseen foundation has been holding you. You were not shaped by wealth or titles, but by trial, fire, and divine orchestration. Every betrayal was chiseling you. Every trial, a hammer against stone. Every storm, a test of resonance. Is it not awe-inspiring that what was meant to break you has instead built you into a structure the enemy cannot topple? Let me share a quiet story. A tailor named Elias from a small village once said, "I stitched clothes for kings. But it was only when I lost everything that I realized the fabric of my soul was woven by God." His words remind us that crowns made by men are garments that wear thin, but the covering of the divine is eternal. Doesn't that simple truth from an ordinary life pierce deeper than the boasts of empires? Now the waiting has ended. The kingdom has prepared for this moment long before you arrived. The signs have been written in ancient scrolls, whispered in prophecies, and confirmed in the very battles you endured. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2-3. No longer can you walk as though unaware. No longer can you pretend the weight you feel is coincidence. Every trial, every betrayal, every fiery battle was not designed to destroy you, but to refine you into the heir the kingdom always knew you were. Rise now, chosen one. Stand in the authority that has always been yours. The false crowns of men are falling. The illusions are dissolving. And the world will soon witness what heaven decreed long ago. The time of pretending is over. The throne is waiting, and it bears your name. When you step forward, nothing remains untouched. The air itself trembles because the kingdom does not coerce its rulers into position, but it recognizes them. It summons them. It crowns them before the foundation of time. You were chosen long before breath entered your lungs. Yet the choice to rise has always been entrusted to your will. Is this not why the war against you has been so ruthless? If you were insignificant, why would the enemy expend centuries of energy, weaving distractions, crafting illusions, and orchestrating relentless opposition against your life? The storms you faced were not random. They were precision strikes designed to suffocate your awakening. Yet here you stand, scarred but unbroken, and because you endure, the balance of the spiritual realm has begun to quake. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. Isaiah 54-17. There is a tearing happening in the unseen realm, a rift so profound that even the adversaries who once celebrated your downfall now retreat in terror. They feel the frequency shifting, the resonance of prophecy vibrating like thunder through eternity. Can you sense it? What they dreaded most is unfolding before their very eyes. The air they tried to erase has awakened. The words once hidden in scrolls are no longer a distant echo, but a living reality being fulfilled in your very steps. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarries. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Habakkuk 2-3. The truth is undeniable. No one else can take your place. Others may mimic your calling, attempt to forge crowns out of counterfeit gold, or parade themselves as heirs to thrones never promised to them. But can imitation ever carry the weight of authenticity? Just as a tree may sprout false branches that look strong, yet break in the first storm. The pretenders crumble when tested. You are not sustained by pretense, but by covenant. Many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. Even Yeshua himself walked with this unshakable authority. He was not validated by the applause of men, nor enthroned by their approval. His very presence was enough to dismantle systems of oppression and expose the hollowness of human power. He stood before Pilate, silent yet immovable, proving that the true king does not beg recognition. Is this not the same authority burning within you? You carry a power that does not need permission, for heaven has already decreed it. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me. Luke 4:18. Nature itself testifies to this mystery. Think of a volcano lying dormant for centuries, seemingly forgotten, covered with soil and vegetation until the appointed moment when fire bursts forth and reshapes the entire landscape in a single night. Is that not the picture of your destiny? Hidden, underestimated, yet destined to erupt with a force that alters everything around you. In the same way, rivers carve canyons over millennia, silent yet unstoppable. So too your calling has been carving its way through time, ready to reveal its depth. But history also warns us through the downfall of false rulers. Consider King Belshazzar, who desecrated the sacred vessels of the temple while boasting of his own glory. That very night, a hand wrote on the wall, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Parsin, Daniel 5:25. His reign ended, his empire was divided, and the throne passed to another. What does this reveal? That those who build their power on mockery and pride will always collapse under the weight of divine judgment. In the same way, those who have tried to sit on the throne reserved for you will find their crowns slipping, their names erased, their empires shattered. You were never meant to bow to what was beneath you. You were destined to rise above, to reclaim the inheritance written into your bloodline. And the enemy knows this. That is why they waged such calculated warfare, hoping delay would become denial. But the timing of heaven cannot be overthrown. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Psalm 118:22-2-3. You are that living stone, once rejected, now rising into position. Chosen one. The shift is here. The illusions are unraveling. The false crowns are shattering, and the prophecy is alive in you. No longer can you live as if unaware. No longer can you hide behind fear or doubt. The kingdom is calling you to take your place. Rise, stand tall in the authority that has always been yours. The throne does not wait forever, and it was never meant for another. The world will witness what heaven has decreed. You are the heir, and the time is now. Chosen ones. After 3 centuries of silence, whispers, and hidden prophecy, the truth has finally broken through the veil. The kingdom has been waiting for you. It has not been chasing shadows. It has been calling your name, engraving your destiny into the very foundation of creation. Everything you have endured, every battle you thought was designed to destroy you, what has only confirmed one thing, that you are the heir the world could not erase. When you rise, deception falls. When you step forward, systems tremble. And when you accept who you truly are, the prophecy sealed for 300 years is fulfilled through you. This is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of your revealing. The kingdom is not just watching, it is aligning with you. Heaven has already declared, you are chosen, you are called, and you are unstoppable. No matter how much opposition remains, your time has come, and no force can reverse what God has written. Before you leave this message, I want to invite you to take part in this movement. If this word has awakened something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and comment 777 as a declaration that you are stepping into your rightful place. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join this channel where prophecy and revelation continue to unfold. To every one of you who has supported, whether through your prayers, through sharing, or even through super thanks, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Your presence here is not ordinary. It is divine alignment. And now, I speak this blessing over you. May the doors of heaven open wider than you can imagine. May the weight of generational curses be lifted from your life. May you walk in peace that surpasses understanding. And may you step boldly into the destiny the kingdom has been seeking for 300 years. Your time is now. Rise, chosen one, because the world has been waiting for you.